Hello guys, how are you?
I'm Hardeep Singh. Welcome back to your own YouTube channel. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test, and speaking, you got guesswork. Please, guys, participate in everyday listening and reading practice test to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Press the bell icon for the upcoming notifications. Don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams.
Part 1. You will hear a man phoning a real estate agent in order to rent out rooms in his house. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 7. Now listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 7.
Hi, Bellingham Real Estate Agents. Could you hold, please?
Okay.
Sorry about that. What can I do for you?
Yeah, I'm looking for some tenants for my house, and I was hoping you could advertise it for me.
Sure, no problem. Is it here in Vancouver?
No, it's just outside in Richmond.
Very nice. It's a house, you say?
Yes, it's a family house. It's 2-story, quite modern.
Right. And you're wanting to rent out the whole place, is that right?
No, just 2 rooms are for rent. That's 2 bedrooms plus the use of the rest of the house. It would really suit a couple of students.
Okay. Can you just tell me the address, please?
Yeah, sure. It's 3281 Number 1 Road, Richmond.
Okay. That's quite a way out. And how much were you thinking of for these rooms?
I thought $700 per room would be a pretty fair price.
Is that per month?
Sure.
Okay. You'd get at least 1,000 if you were in Vancouver.
Yeah, I know.
Any other costs?
Just the cleaner who comes once a week.
Cleaner, okay. And how much would your tenant have to pay her?
Actually, it's a guy, and, that would be another $30 a month for the cleaning.
Okay. And is it nice? I mean, is it got a view and things?
Sure. It looks out over the ocean. No garden, but there's lots to look at from the lounge.
Okay, and your name is?
Peter Trubois.
Trubois. Is that B-O-Y-S?
No, it's Truboise.
Trubois. Nice name. And your address?
It's the same one I just gave you.
Fine, as above. Got a phone number you can give me?
Sure, I'm calling you from it. It's 6047-4106.
And a cell?
Yes, that's 903-277-3987.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 8 to 10. Now listen carefully and answer questions 8 to 10.
Now, let's get down to the serious stuff. What have you got in the kitchen? A fridge, of course.
Yes, a fridge. And there's a dishwasher.
Got facilities for washing clothes?
Yeah, a washing machine in the basement and a dryer too.
Okay. Gas or electric stove?
Electric. And in the kitchen there's a microwave as well.
Fine. Now what about the house? Anything worth mentioning?
Sure. There's a room for playing ping pong and pool.
Great. And how's it heated?
It's got central heating, but no fireplace.
That's too bad. I like an open fire in winter. Air conditioned?
No.
No conditioning. I suppose you've got a TV?
Sure.
Cable?
Afraid not. I've never gotten around to putting it in.
Fine. What sort of tenant are you looking for? Students, you said?
That's right. Although it's quite away from the university. I guess they'd need a car.
That's true. Still, there's a shopping mall just a block away. I'm looking at a map right now.
Yep, just a small one. No movie theaters or anything like that. We're right by the beach, though, and that's something.
Sure, especially in this weather. I wish I was there myself. Any other entertainment in the area?
There's a cocktail lounge on the corner, and a couple of hamburger joints. You'd have to go downtown for a movie, though. Oh, and Boyd Park is only a couple of 100 yards away.
Okay, Mr. Trubois, I'll post this up for you, and I hope you have some luck.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, and take care.
Sure, thanks.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2.
You will hear a talk on an organisation called Worldwide Student Project. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 17. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 17.
Hi everyone, my name's Sam Thomas, and I'm here to give you some information about Worldwide Student Projects, or WSP for short. The talk takes about 5 minutes, and after that I'll be happy to answer questions, okay? Right, well, WSP is a voluntary service organisation which was set up to promote international understanding. Right now we've got people from 30 different countries working in local communities around the world. So if you're interested in joining them, I'd like to tell you about some of the opportunities that are available. Now, depending on how long you want to be away, there are 3 sorts of projects to choose from. Short-term projects lasting 2 to 3 weeks, medium-term projects lasting between 1 and 6 months, and long-term projects which can be anything up to a year. One of the short-term ones we've got on offer at the moment is in Japan. It's a village improvement project, and the work involves clearing the river banks and planting flowers, things like that. You'd be working alongside local people, so you need a basic knowledge of Japanese for that. The next one to tell you about is a children's holiday centre in Poland. What's required here is basically manual work. You'll be painting rooms, gardening and generally preparing for the children's arrival. It's a medium-term project lasting 6 weeks, and there's comfortable accommodation on site. And now something for the animal lovers amongst you. It's a conservation project for sea turtles in Mexico. Sea turtles are under threat from poachers in that part of the world, so your main job would be collecting and moving the eggs to a safe site. It's a short-term project, and you'd be staying in a local school, but be aware that it has very basic conditions. Don't expect any luxury of satellite TV. Now here's an exciting opportunity in China for any budding architects. This is a long-term project, and placements are for 9 months. You'd be working in an office in Shanghai, involved in planning and design, under supervision of a local architect. Oh, and I should mention, that you have to pay an additional fee of $250 when you arrive. Finally, do we have any medical students here? Because there's a placement available in a centre for disabled children in India. You'd be providing general medical care and also assisting in the outpatients of department. It's for 6 months, so you can get plenty of experience and also do something worthwhile for disabled children.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 18 to 20. Now listen carefully and answer questions 18 to 20.
Well, that's just a taste of the incredible range of projects we have to offer. But I hope it's whetted your appetite. And in case you do decide to apply, let me tell you what happens next. First of all, you need to fill in an application form and send it to us. Oh, and you should also include a passport photo, by the way. Once we've received the form and photo, we process them and then we send you a welcome pack containing general information about the program, together with the formal terms and conditions. These terms and conditions are basically a list of responsibilities on both sides, yours and ours. What happens if you want to leave early, etc. And you also get a detailed questionnaire, which helps us identify a suitable job for you. Then, about 1 month before you leave, you'll receive all the details about your particular placement. And I think that's about it. Oh, I never forgot to mention, we've also got a website. The address is in our brochure. Now, are there any questions?
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
You are going to hear Dr. Joanna Robinson, the course director of a language learning centre, answering questions from reporters from the student newspaper. First, look at questions 21 to 26.
Welcome to the Language Learning Center. I'm Joanne Robinson. You must be the reporters from the Examiner. Please come in and sit down.
Hello, Dr. Robinson. Yes, we're from the Examiner. I'm Cheryl Perkins and this is Don Klim. May I start with a question? Did this college really start with Brazilian students?
It did. The Language Learning Center was founded in 1985 to look after a group of students from Brazil who wanted to study here. Those 20 students soon grew to 60, and as you can imagine, we had severe accommodation problems.
Somebody said you were in the old amenities block, right near the engineering school.
They have a good memory. Yes, we were there because the university hadn't believed we would expand so quickly. The problem wasn't solved until we moved into these new premises in Bancroft House in 1987.
When did you start taking students from other countries?
About 1990. We now have students from 13 different countries enrolled, and we expect a large group from Turkey next month.
Yes, we've noticed a lot more advertisements for Turkish restaurants in our advertising section.
Well, 40% of our students come from Turkey, by far the largest single national group, and I believe there's been an influx to the rest of the university. There are a lot of Turkish students studying hospitality.
Do you offer anything special to the students?
Yes, we do. There are several things which make us rather different from other language schools. English is certainly not restricted to English for academic purposes here. Sometimes we have extra classes for students who have particular courses in mind. And we have just said goodbye to a group of 30 Indonesian students who were preparing for a university course in agriculture. They came to us for English for farming, and they were with us for a long time. We miss them.
How long do students usually stay at the Language Learning Centre?
It varies, so I'll talk about the average. Most of our courses last for 5 weeks, but to make any real progress, a student needs to be here for at least 3 terms. That's 15 weeks. The students do better if they have a little time to settle in at the beginning of the course, and we offer an orientation course that lasts a week. Most students take it. It helps them to settle down, and it gives us plenty of time to test them and place them at the right level.
How many people are in each class?
We sometimes go up to 18, but our average class size is 14 students, and some classes have as few as 7 participants. It depends on the needs of the group.
You were saying that you miss your students when they go. How do you attract students? I mean, how do they hear about the Language Learning Centre in the first place?
We're included in the university advertising and marketing, and we have our own website. The thing which works best for us, though, is word of mouth. Students who leave us often send us their friends. In fact, a student who arrived today was carrying a photograph for me of a former student and his baby.
It sounds like a nice place to be.
It is. A lot of our students make lasting friendships while they're here.
Now look at questions
Making friends with other students sounds special enough. I'd like to emphasize that in the student newspaper.
We do try to get our students to be part of the wider university.
How do you do that? Do you encourage them to join the sports centre, for instance?
Indeed we do. The sports center is always looking for active participants, particularly in soccer. Oh, and something else. You might like to mention that we don't teach just English here. I mean, we're a language center, not an English language center. You may learn Spanish, Mandarin, and Russian here, and we can sometimes offer other languages. This means we can have some students who are native speakers of those languages as conversation partners for English-speaking students.
Who can do these courses?
At this stage, any native speaker of English.
What about the people who are learning English? Can they do a non-English language course?
At this time, only if they've almost finished their English language course. You see, we try very hard to involve students who are native speakers of English as conversation leaders, and we encourage our students to join groups on the campus. For instance, if they enjoy music, there is an active jazz group available to everyone, and that's a lot of fun. On the other hand, elementary students can't go to the drama group. Their English just isn't ready for that sort of activity. But the university choir welcomes all the singers it can find. They often do large productions that need a lot of voices.
I imagine the special conversation groups are open to all your students.
I wish they were. I'm sorry to say they're a special service we provide for elementary students only. Is there anything else I can tell you? I'd be really pleased if you could write about the courses we offer in foreign languages.
I think our readers will be very interested in that. Thank you for your time, Dr. Robinson.
Yes, thank you very much.
Goodbye. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about the center. It's always good to let the rest of the students at the university know what goes on in our classrooms and outside them. After all, many of our students leave us and then study for degrees in various disciplines on this campus.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to Part 4.
You will hear a presentation. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40. Welcome to this presentation on the results of our survey of Asian students in Australia, the UK and the US. Australia is growing in popularity among Asian students, while the UK and the US are losing ground as the place to study for a degree, according to our international survey. Our research is based on the views of 1,500 undergraduates from 10 Asian countries studying in Britain, the USA and Australia. 60% of the students were aged between 18 and 21, and 30% were between 22 and 25. 4 in 10 students cited a better quality of education as their main reason for studying away from their home country. About 27% said they were doing it to broaden their experience, and because they were attracted by the cultural experience of living in a foreign country. Business, commerce and marketing are still by far the most dominant field of study, attracting almost 2/5 of students. 3/4 of Asian students polled in Australia said it was their first choice, compared to less than half when we conducted the same survey in the year 2000. From an Australian perspective, it's very positive, because more and more students are consciously choosing Australia rather than it being a second choice. The UK and American parts of the survey show that they are no longer the preferred destinations they were, despite still being seen as offering the best education in the world. Australian universities have done a really good job of promoting Australia as well as their own universities. Australia is seen as good value for money and is attracting the more price-sensitive students. Australia's overseas students' enrolments have doubled since the year 2000 to 200,000 in 2006, at a time when they have declined in the US and the UK's share of the global market is declining. Reflecting this increase, Australia's education exports rose 17.8% last year, and were valued at more than $5 billion for the first 9 months of 2006. In the United States, a clampdown on foreign students following the terrorist attacks on September the 11th has made many Asian students feel unwelcome. As a result, applications to American universities have declined. This could happen in the UK. If students find it hard to get visas, they could question whether the country really wanted them. Another factor in Australia's growing popularity was the wish of some members of the growing Asian middle class to settle in the country after studying there. The cost of study and value for money also featured highly on the list of reasons students gave for choosing Australia as a study destination. Much higher than in Britain. 34% said they selected Australia because they thought living expenses were relatively less expensive, and 20% made their decision because tuition fees were cheaper. Quality remained the biggest drawcard for students wanting to study in Australia, reinforcing the critical importance of its reputation overseas, according to new research. Asian students still ranked the US and Britain as having the highest quality universities, but Australia rated third, but ahead of other destinations like Canada, New Zealand and Germany. Despite the emergence of transnational education programs, 81% of students did not consider undertaking a foreign degree in their home country. It seems that the concern that these programs are going to diminish the number of foreign students is a bit premature. Only 4% of those enrolled in Australia had studied overseas before, a figure we attribute to an emerging middle class of Asian students wanting to study offshore. In the past, many Asian students had come from their home country's elite, high-income families whose parents had studied abroad. What we've got now is an emerging middle class who maybe haven't travelled before and whose parents were not educated overseas. Our study also shows that students rely more on education agents than in the past, with implications for universities that plug direct enrolments online. Whilst our findings are good for Australia, which is increasing in popularity as a study destination, they do not mean that Australia can rest on its laurels, as competition is increasing from a growing number of institutions and study destinations.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
So guys, don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test and speaking, you got guesswork. Please guys, participate in everyday new IELTS listening and reading practice tests to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. For more IELTS material, visit my official website www.ieltsupdatesandrecentexams.com. The link is given below in the description. If you need PDF files of latest IELTS material, then please join my Telegram channel. So guys, please write your score below the comment section. Again, thanks for listening. God bless you all guys. Stay tuned, stay safe.